In the humid lowlands of south-central Mexico, a profound enigma lies carved in stone, a mystery that has persisted for millennia. This is the story of the Olmec Colossal Heads, monumental sculptures that defy time and guard their secrets closely. The Olmec civilization, flourishing between approximately 150400 BCE, is considered the mother culture of Mesoamerica. They laid the groundwork for subsequent civilizations, including the Maya and the Aztecs. Yet, they left behind no comprehensive written records, leaving archaeologists to piece together their history from artifacts. Chief among these artifacts are the 17 colossal heads unearthed to date, each a unique masterpiece. These are not generic representations. They are distinct, individualistic portraits frozen in volcanic stone. The heads range in height from 1.5 to 3.4 meters, a truly monumental scale for their time. Their weight is equally staggering, with some estimated to be over 50 tons. Each sculpture was carved from a single, massive boulder of volcanic basalt from the Sierra de los Tuxtlas. This mountain range was located up to 150 kilometers away from the Olmec heartland centers. The logistical challenge of transporting these enormous stones is one of the greatest puzzles. It is believed they used a combination of river rafts and sheer manpower on land. This incredible feat suggests a highly organized society with a powerful leadership structure. But the central question remains: who were these individuals immortalized in stone? The most widely accepted theory is that the heads are portraits of powerful Olmec rulers. The individuality of each face strongly supports this hypothesis. These were not gods, but men. Leaders whose authority was so great it warranted such a monumental tribute. In Mesoamerican belief, the head was considered the seat of the soul and individual identity. To capture a person's likeness was to capture their essence for eternity. The headdresses worn by the figures are also significant clues. Each helmet-like head covering is unique, possibly representing different lineages, achievements, or titles. Some scholars suggest they were protective helmets used in warfare or the ritualistic Mesoamerican ballgame. This leads to an alternative theory, that the heads might honor famed warriors. Perhaps they were champions of the ballgame, a sport with deep political and religious importance. A victory in a ballgame could have been a significant event worthy of commemoration. However, the sheer scale and resource investments still point more strongly towards rulers. Only a king or paramount chief could likely command the labor needed for such a project. The creation process itself was a marvel of ancient engineering. The Olmecs lacked metal tools, relying on the patient use of harder stones and abrasives. They would have used techniques of pecking and grinding to shape the features. Water and sand were likely used as an abrasive to smooth the stone surfaces. The level of artistry achieved is remarkable, capturing subtle expressions and realistic features. Many of the heads exhibit a mature, somber, and powerful expression. The faces are typically broad with flat noses and full lips, features still found in the region today. Another mystery surrounding the heads is their final disposition. Many were found buried, sometimes in groups, in their ceremonial centers. This burial does not seem to be the result of a sudden collapse or invasion. Instead, it appears to have been a deliberate, ritualistic act. One theory suggests that when a ruler died, his portrait was ceremonially interred. This would have been an act of closure, marking the end of a reign. Another possibility is that the heads were deactivated or ritually killed. This might have been done to neutralize the immense power believed to reside within the portrait. Some heads show signs of being damaged, and then later restored or recarved. This could indicate a successor recarving the monument of a predecessor. This act would be a powerful political statement of dynastic succession. The heads were primarily found at three main Olmec centers: San Lorenzo, La Venta, Entre Zapotes. The earliest heads, from San Lorenzo, date to around 1200 BCE. The San Lorenzo phase represents the initial flourishing of this monumental tradition. After the decline of San Lorenzo, around 900 BCE, La Venta rose to prominence. The heads at La Venta are carved from a different, more purplish basalt. The final Olmec center, Tres Zapotes, continued the tradition on a smaller scale. The discovery of the first head by a farm worker in 1862 sparked modern interest. Archaeologist Matthew Stirling's expeditions in the 1930s and 40s brought them to global attention. Stirling's work confirmed the great antiquity of the Olmec civilization. He correctly identified them as a distinct and ancient culture, predating the Maya. The faces on the heads have sometimes been the subject of fringe theories. Some have suggested African or other foreign origins due to the broad features. However, these theories are overwhelmingly rejected by mainstream scholars and archaeologists. The features are entirely consistent with the physiognomy of the region's indigenous populations. The colossal heads are a testament to the Olmec's artistic skill and social organization. They represent the first great portraiture tradition in the Americas. They tell of a society capable of mobilizing vast resources for ideological purposes. The rulers they depict held immense power, both political and likely religious. They were the intermediaries between the natural world and the supernatural realm. Their likeness in stone would have reinforced their divine right to rule. The heads stood as permanent, unyielding symbols of authority in the ceremonial centers. They were a constant reminder to the populace of who was in command. The tradition of carving these heads appears to have ended around 400 BCE. This coincides with the general decline and abandonment of the last Olmec centers. The reasons for the Olmec collapse are still debated, possibly involving environmental change or social upheaval. But their legacy, carved in basalt, endured. These sculptures influenced subsequent Mesoamerican cultures' art and concepts of power. The concept of monumental stone portraiture can be traced back to them. Today, the colossal heads are celebrated as national treasures in Mexico. They are powerful icons of Mexico's oldest civilization. They draw visitors from around the world to marvel at their scale and artistry. While we may never know the names of the rulers depicted, their faces are unforgettable. Each furrowed brow and set of lips tells a story of power and existence. They are the silent kings of Mesoamerica's dawn. They represent a culture that mastered stone, logistics, and portraiture. The mystery of their identity only adds to their profound allure. They are a powerful reminder of the great civilizations that can rise and fall. The Olmec rulers achieved a form of immortality through these stone portraits. Their gaze continues to challenge us across the centuries. They are a tangible link to the very beginnings of Mesoamerican civilization. The faces in the stone are the faces of a lost world's leadership. Each head is a chapter in a story without words. The artists who carved them were masters of their craft, though they remain anonymous. Their legacy is inseparable from the rulers they immortalized. The effort to create them speaks of a society with deep reverence for its leaders. These stone sentinels guarded the sacred precincts of the Olmec. They witnessed ceremonies, triumphs, and the eventual decline of their civilization. The volcanic basalt from which they are made gives them a sense of permanence and power. Their journey from mountain to city was a foundational act of kingship. The Olmec heads are not just artifacts. They are the faces of a civilization. They are a profound statement about power, identity, and permanence. Though their language is lost, their portraits speak volumes. They honored the men who held the fate of the Olmec in their hands. These rulers were the architects of the first great Mesoamerican society. Their legacy is written not on paper, but in tons of carved stone. The mystery of the Olmec Heads is, in the end, the mystery of power itself.